Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and privilege to be here today, sitting amongst such inspiring people. Thank you so much. My name is Ariane Bukschat and I'm from Germany. For the past 12 months, I was living and working in Botswana at a human rights organization called WoMen Against Rape. WAR is a non-governmental organization that is working on reducing and preventing gender-based violence. The types of GBV cases that WAR sees the most are related to teenage pregnancy, rape, defilement, HIV infection, and the list goes on. We primarily supported abused women and children through guidance and counseling. We also spend a lot of the time in the community providing education through workshops and community talks. WAR is a very unique NGO in Botswana for many reasons. One of these reasons being that they run a shelter for women and children. This shelter acts as a safe house for people to go to who are experiencing some type of violence in their life. At the Office of WAR, I was also working with their school teams. The school team runs clubs called Students Against Rape. In our lessons, we were teaching the students life skills and communication skills by giving them knowledge about adolescents' sexual reproductive health and rights. The goal was to give the students all the information and knowledge they need so they could be empowered to make healthy life choices in all aspects of their life. I was mainly working on Sustainable Development Goal number 5, gender equality. In Botswana, most of the cases of GBV that we came across were there where children and women were the victims. It is not easy to change gender dynamics because they are deeply ingrained in any given society. At WAR, we knew that if we wanted to see equality in Botswana, then we needed to make sure that children and women know their rights and are empowered to stand up for themselves and demand they receive equal treatment. At this point, I want to talk about the differences between equality and equity. Equality is when everyone has the same rights and opportunities. It means that no person is favored over another based on race, gender, sexuality, etc. Equity is fairness in every situation. We need both equality and equity in our society because equality is not enough on its own. I want to emphasize the need of equality and equity with an example of the Children's Act of Botswana from 2009 that gives every child the right to education. This means that in theory, every child has equal access to go to school regardless of any factors, including gender. However, let's say they were a boy and a girl. The girl eventually reaches puberty and starts menstruating. Her family cannot afford sanitary pads for her. Therefore, each month during her period, she stays home from school because she's too ashamed and embarrassed to go to school for fear she will leak. This is an issue of equity and fairness. In theory, the boy and girl have equal access to their education, but the girl is faced with a challenge that hinders her from accessing her education. If the girl is not able to receive some type of assistance that removes her barrier to education, then she is not receiving equitable treatment. While I was at WAR, we started a project called Keeping Girls in School. We made 5 big cardboard boxes and designed them with beautiful graphics. We then brought them into the 5 secondary schools we work in. The intention was for students, staff, and community members to fill the boxes with sanitary pads. In order to make sure no girl ever has to miss school or get bullied because of her period, we held a few events to advocate for this project and raise awareness about the struggles that girls face to stay in school. The work that we were doing drew attention of the Minister of Education, and before we knew it, she had brought the issue to Parliament. She wanted to make sanitary pads being available in every secondary school across the entire country. Eventually, it would pass the law that all girls would have access to sanitary pads. This made me realize what one person, or in my case, one organization can do to ensure the Sustainable Development Goals are met. In order to ensure that the Sustainable Development Goals are met, we have to cooperate and we have to come together. It was very special for me to work in an NGO and get to know how they operate. After my experience, I can say that nothing would have been possible without partnerships from all around the world. Every time a woman who had been abused came to war and seek help, we would have to get the police involved in order for the case to be reported. Then we would often take the case to the clinic as well if there was a need for STI testing or a rape kit. As well, we also work closely with organizations that provide legal services so that we can refer clients in situations in which legal action is necessary. And that is how we were making sure that Sustainable Development Goal number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions, was met. People have a lot of misperceptions of the problems in these countries. If you don't cope with global issues, you won't ever be aware of those problems. This is where it starts. Teachers, mentors, young leaders, and organizations have to feel responsible to sensitize students in school about the Sustainable Development Goals, the consequences and the reality of our world and other lives. We have to raise consciousness and awareness. People in advanced countries have to be aware of why we can buy a $5 shirt. Everyone has to be aware of the fact that somehow, someone, somewhere is suffering because of our consumption. That is the exact aim of the Sustainable Development Goal number 12, responsible consumption and production. In Botswana, I lived without electricity. I used a pit latrine, a bucket shower, and a gas oven. Sometimes we cooked over an open fire. We had no fridge. I did not have the ability to charge my electronic devices and therefore could not rely on my phone to keep me busy. I truly learned and can promise everyone that materialism does not bring happiness or abundance. In fact, all the boundless consumerism that exists can be extremely dangerous and take away from living a truly meaningful life. It doesn't matter how big your house is. It matters how happy the people are living in it. Where I come from, people are strongly believe that gender equality comes with development. In my opinion, that is wrong. At places where men and women have the same rights and are being granted equal respect, that's where development starts. Women's rights are human rights. And where human rights exist, there's freedom and justice. And where we can find freedom and justice, there are chances and possibilities for everyone. At the end of my stay in Botswana, my colleague told me, go and tell people also on your side of the world to use their inner power in a positive way wherever they go. And never doubt that one person or a small group of people with good intention can make this world a better place. I believe he's right. Thank you.